Well, good evening, Clint. While our guests are being loaded on screen,
Good
we're
evening,
slowing the
Patrick.
pace a little bit tonight. We're going into a static mode tonight on a subject that I must admit I'm no expert on, but I do have a keen interest in it, and I believe it's the same your side, Clint.
Yeah, no, for sure, Patrick. Good evening to the viewers. I always had a passion for motorbikes, especially when the helmet goes on. You tend to change a bit of character. So when I got married, part of the contract was I'm not allowed to own a motorbike. So that's quite sad.
Well, we can rectify that, and we're going to enjoy the collection these gentlemen have
Yeah,
in
for
their
sure.
possession. But yeah, and first of all, thank you to our viewers for being patient tonight. Load shedding created a bit of havoc behind the scenes.
Yeah,
That's why we're a bit later than anticipated. And to our guests tonight, thank you for being patient with us as well.
yeah.
The whole idea behind this is to introduce Colin. Standen is his surname. And even though this museum is in South Africa, I believe he's a visitor at this stage at his own museum. But Colin, great to have you on board tonight. We are looking forward to learn more about the motorcycle room in Neisner. So if you could
Yes, hello.
please introduce yourself.
Yes, hi, Colin. Thanks for having us. Yes, at the moment you're 100% right. I'm on a little bit of a holiday. COVID's kept me away for close on 2 years now. So the first chance I got, I hopped on the airplane and came back to check up on everybody, and everything is looking beautiful and perfect, and has been in really, really good hands for the last 2 years. So I was very pleased when I arrived.
Colin, you're going to have to tell us, how did this come about? Because it seems a strange hobby to have when you're on a distance, or well, a fair distance away from it.
Yeah, look, I mean, I've been in the UK now, as I say, for 3 years. So it started 5-6 years ago. I've been collecting for probably 8 years. So I'm in my youth used to race enduro, so I did a lot of racing. After I stopped racing, I smashed my elbow in 7 or 8 places. So that put an end to the racing. And then my kids came along, so we decided to take it a little bit easy. Then I started adventure riding. So we rode from Cairo to Cape Town. Did a lot of adventure riding. I don't think there's a gravel road in South Africa that I haven't ridden. And one day on Gumtree, I saw a 50cc little bike, which is pretty similar to the one over here, which is what we rode at school. So I bought the little bike. Just turn that around. You can see it.
Byron, can you give us a full screen there? My man in the background will hopefully give us a full screen now. So that's bike number one in the collection.
Well, it was a similar one to that. So I bought that little bike on Gumtree for 500 Rand and fixed it up, got it going, and then the bug bit. And then I started collecting the little 50cc bikes, and I landed up with quite a few of those. And then basically, yes, the garage got fuller and fuller, and I realized, people who heard that I had bikes were asking, can they please come and see them? So I'd have to take them to my house. And I slowly but surely realized that there are a lot of people very passionate about this kind of thing. And we found a beautiful space, and we took a chance, so we opened up, and we had 40 bikes, I think. And yeah, from day one, when I opened that door, people came in and they just loved it. And then it slowly but surely became a full-time job. So, when we opened up, there were so few bikes in this big space that, it looked like an art gallery inside more than a collection. So, then I started collecting the bikes that I enjoy. So the bikes that mean something to me, not for any other reason. So people walk in here and they're quite confused because there's no genre. There's no theme. There's just a little bit of absolutely everything. And the main focus about this place is the memories that we had and of my generation's biker. So I don't have many very early classics. Unfortunately, most of those have been exported out to the UK. So a lot of the bikes mean something to me. Bikes that I raced and I rode as a kid. And the main feel of the motorcycle room, when people come in here, it's like a man cave. It's not a museum, because I think maybe because there's new bikes, there's old bikes, there's a bit of everything. But the guys can relate to it. So they'll come in here and they'll see their first 50cc from school. I get guys telling me my first, second, and third bike are here, which is very, very cool. We've had guys, like you said in your intro, a very emotional topic, very personal. I've had guys standing in front of a bike in tears. You know, you don't know what their memory is. You don't know what happened. And the sheer joy when people see a bike that they had at school or recognize, they run to it. You know, it's not like they can walk to get to it. They can't get the quality. So, you know, that's the kind of thing. And people, I think, can relate to it because they can own pretty much any one of these bikes. You know, they're not unobtainable. So if you can find one and one's there, you can have a mini version of this if you wanted to. And I just really got the pleasure out of sharing this with everybody because there are some very, very serious collections in South Africa, way more valuable than mine, way more rare bikes, but you don't get to see them. They're locked away. You'll never get, you don't even know where they are. So I share my passion. I share my love with everybody. And, you know, people come in, they're respectful. A lot of museums or collections, you can't go near the bikes. They're behind cables and they're behind. In our place, you can walk around. Our only rule is you can't touch. You can take photos, you can do whatever you need to do. But we just don't have a no-touch rule for obvious reasons. And a lot of the bikes that well, not a lot. Some of the customs that we've got here, I did myself very, very cheaply and just for the fun of it because I don't take this too seriously. So this was a hobby that's become a business. That's something I'm not pedantic and my bikes don't have to be perfect. And I ride them all, well, not all of them, but I ride as many as I can. And I tell people, if you come visit and a bike's dirty, we haven't had time to wash it yet. So don't get upset. We'll wash it when we get a chance. So a lot of guys have said to me, since being here and seeing the bikes that you've built, I'm going to get my old bike out the garage. I'm going to clean it. I'm going to restore it, which is a great feeling for me.
That is good.
And I'm just going to try and get these two in for you. Can you see those?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so that little red bike there, this is the one, yeah. I did myself, and I think my total cost there was about 3,500 Rand. So, you know, the good old spray can, and asked the buddy to restore it for me, and this little grey one there as well. So, you know, my motto is if I can, anybody can. So, you can do it. You know, you can enjoy your passion. You can buy a little bike. You can fix it up yourself. We do obviously have some really serious customs, which I think Norman's going to show you a little bit later. Our Pride and Joy, the copper bike, he'll start it up for you. And those were built by a professional bike builder for me, a good close friend of mine, Gavin Fenter. And we had great fun doing that. So I'll let Norman show you the copper bike a bit later, but some of the crazy things we do, because for me, if you're going to build a custom bike, you might as well get a little bit nutty because not take it too seriously. So what we've got here is, you know, this picture here, everybody knows is the IT200. So that's just a picture of the donor bike. Okay, so a big single cylinder, 2-stroke 465cc bike. And I said to Gavin, just build me something crazy. And when I stripped the bike, I saw the frame had a really unusual shock in it. So I said to him, look, I want that shock on display. And I'm going to show you something you've never seen in your life before. And in motorbike terms, it's the craziest thing you'll ever see. But I'm going to try and do it for you nicely. So there we go. We call that one the Silver Bullet. So what we wanted there was just something absolutely crazy that you've never seen before. So all of that metal that you're seeing is hand beaten. You haven't did that?
Yeah.
Hand beaten it. Then there's the, let's just get around this side. There's the major shock with a cutout in the tank. So you can see the shock. And so there's the gist of
That
it. So yeah,
But that will fire up and ride. That's a working,
Yes.
a working machine.
yeah, all of the most of the bikes here, they run. This one is very scary and crazy to ride. So being a single cylinder two-stroke, it's very, very dramatic. So we went a little bit crazy on that one. And then the kind of thing that we do, a lot of the bikes, all of them, I've got a story. I had a friend who was a South African motocross champion that I used to ride with, and he had a very big crash on the motocross track, hurt himself quite badly, and his little race bike that I rode with him plenty with, he bent the frame. So it was a very sentimental little bike, and he phoned me up and, what does he do with the thing? And because of the bent frame, you couldn't really ride it. So, I said to him, so I bought the bike, and I said, I'll do something crazy with it. And so pretty much out of all the leftovers we had lying around the shop, and yes, some of them are pretty expensive leftovers, I created this crazy thing. So this bike there, so it was a little Honda CR250. So the big, massive, oversized radiator came off a KTM 1190. These very, very fancy wheels I already had because they were on the bike. So, the exhaust, Akrapovic, very expensive Akrapovic, that also was lying around. The air filter, I think it comes off a truck. I don't know where I got that. So the metal work was very well done for me by a friend. And the spray job on this thing is unbelievable. So,
But it looks like a street fighter now, right?
Yeah, it looks like it's ready for motard race, man.
It does. Really, really, really came out. But, when people look at our customs, then they stand there and you see them do this and they try and figure out what it is. Then I have a big smile because the more bonkers it is and the more crazy it is, the better, So that's what we enjoy. And going forward, we'll just grow the collection. Maybe get a couple more specific little bikes, and we'll just see where we go. And we'll just keep going and just keep having fun. And as long as I'm very, very, very thankful to the South African public. Because during COVID, we were very well supported by South Africans, and the museum stayed open, and people came in and supported us from all over. We're very thankful to have tourists back. So last month we saw a huge surge in tourists, which was great. But again, to the South African public, I can't be thankful enough. People came from all over South Africa to visit us and support us, and because of that, we managed to keep the doors open, and we'll just keep displaying and growing it, and everybody can enjoy it.
Colin, tell our viewers where you are, how they can go about visiting you. Where's the web? What is the website called? How do they make contact with the people?
Social media.
Yeah, our most prolific thing. I do all the social media from the UK. So wherever I chat to on the Motorcycle Room's page, they're chatting to me. So the Motorcycle Room on Facebook or on Instagram. We don't have a website that links you straight back to the Facebook. So Facebook is the best place to chat to us, to ask questions, to do all of that stuff. And everything new that we get in, we put on there, and all the fun we have. I mean, I chat to people from all over the world. The Motorcycle Room has really become a worldwide
phenomenon.
I would say brand. Yeah, well, I wouldn't use the word phenomenon. I'd like to, but we had 2 German visitors yesterday. And on our Facebook page, they were chatting to another German gentleman who's been here 6 times already. So it's becoming a destination in Eisen. If you go to Eisen, you go to the Motorcycle Room, and I'm hugely proud of that. So yeah, we'll just keep pushing that. And plans for the future? No, we moved over to the UK for we're back and forth between the two. I couldn't because of COVID, so. Now that things are open, I'll be back and forth. I'll be here every month or 2 for a couple of weeks at a time, and we'll just we'll just keep going.
Well, Colin, quite recently you also featured in a television program. As a matter of fact,
Yes.
I think they got it slightly confused because they had Father Christmas included in that.
Father Christmas did very well in that program. I was very proud of him and Shaw. They did us really, really proud. And the funny thing is that we're all pretty camera shy, and it was like, no, you talk, no, you talk. No, I don't want to talk, you don't talk. But I think when they both started talking, they couldn't get them to keep quiet again. So before I go, tonight's a very, very, very special night. We unboxed something tonight that is very, very special worldwide, and I'm going to let Charles tell you about that a bit later. And I don't know if Norman wants to have a chat about the copper bike, and they've got some things to show you. Something to look forward to. Charles will show you a bit later. Incredibly, incredibly special bike that we unboxed tonight, and we're very, very proud of. And I've been looking forward to it. It's been in the box for quite a while, and I said to them, they're not touching that box until I'm there. So I'm done. And we actually weren't going to do it. And then I was like, no, we're going to open that box. So today was the day. So it was very cool. So we did that about 2 hours ago. And if people want to see more of it, they can go to the Facebook page and they'll see what I'm talking about.
Great stuff. But you're not disappearing. We're going to catch up with you in a moment or two again. But we'd like to put Charles on for a while. Charles, the boss has spoken. Now it's your turn.
How are you guys doing?
We are only too happy to hear what you've got to tell us.
Okay, very good. All right, I'm just hearing myself echo quite intensely.
While you're working on the echo, tell our viewers, how do you fit into the motorcycle room?
I'm going to tell you right now. Give me 1 second. There we go. Okay, so what I do here is I manage the motorcycle room. Norman's the man on the floor. Norman does all the hard work, and I check up on him every now and again and make sure he's happy. And then what I have to do is I have to relay what's happening and not happening, and back to Colin sitting in the UK. And that could be quite hair-raising sometimes. Like, oh no, this bike is now leaking oil. What must we do? So it happens because some of these bikes are quite old, and we can't run all of them. And the seals tend to perish and get a little bit hard, and then they leak a bit. But it's all good. It's part of the maintenance, and we love it, so we really love it. So what I'm going to do quickly is we've got 150 odd motorcycles there.
Yeah.
We should actually maybe count, but yeah, I think about 156 the last time we looked. So I'm going to turn the camera around, and I don't know if any of your attendees on the show or viewers on the show have been here before. So if I swing around, I think you guys can see all of them.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
So I'm kind of standing in the middle at the moment, and I'm just swinging around.
Just move a bit slower. Just pan a bit slower.
A little bit slower. Okay.
Yeah, just move slower. There we go. Now we can see them in focus.
Do you see it?
Yep.
Yeah.
You can carry on. That's lovely.
Do you see all the orange KTMs?
Yeah. Well, I wanted to ask: is there any specific manufacturer that gets more of a show here, or is it pretty much open to anything that comes in the door?
It's open to pretty much anything that comes in the door. But I'm going to show you the big orange KTM sign as you enter the premises, and you'll know what we are fans of.
Signed by world champion Giovanni Sala.
Yeah.
Signed, yeah. I don't know if you heard Colin say that. You see that big sign there?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. So that's our favorite brand. The next brand we have a lot of are the Yamahas. So, and the Yamahas range from the RZ50 up to the very beautiful RZ500. Four-stroke
You're gonna
racing. If you guys know who Valentino Rossi is,
No, we don't.
do you know him? Of course you do. He started on 500cc two-strokes, which is amazing. And we have Yamaha RZ500. It's a 1984 model. Can you guys see it?
Yeah, beautiful.
All right. But then we also have the UK version, the RZ583 model. So we got two, which we're quite excited about.
Do you have any VFR 400s? Because VFR is a similar kind of shape as that one.
We had a VFR 400 owned by a very good friend of ours, and he had it on display here, and he probably took it out about 3 years ago. So yeah, he moved it on. I think he sold it. But yeah, the VFR 400 also a very beautiful bike.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you have a favorite in there, Charles?
Do I have a favorite? Well,
It must be Ducati.
Yeah, he's very biased. I know where he's going now.
It must be Ducati, right?
where I'm
biased now.
going is the motorcycle that I restored myself.
Yeah.
Can you see it?
Yeah,
Yeah, we do.
Suzuki.
It's nothing fancy or special, but I love it because I put a lot of effort into my GSX 250.
Sure.
Double overhead cam with 8 valves.
Oh, beautiful.
It's a 1981 model, and I shortened the seat a little bit to make it look a bit more modern. So it's a single seater now. But yeah, that's my favorite because I put lots of time and effort into it.
So, talking about 1981 bikes, there was a picture earlier on of a CB. I'm not sure if it was a 750 or 900F. Is that bike still there? It was a dark blue one.
Oh, the CB750F.
It was the 750F, yeah. Oh,
Yes.
those bikes are beautiful. I think it had I think the 900 had a nickname called the Bushman.
Beautiful bike. This one that we've got here, Norman did some restoration work on it. When we got it, we saw the picture of a few years ago, and when it arrived, it turned out that this motorcycle was living outside for years.
Sure.
And it deteriorated terribly. So Norman put it up on the bench, and he did some good work on it, and we've restored it to a respectable state. Not a full restoration. This was more, elbow and what's it? Elbow grease into it. So we kept the restoration quite inexpensive, but we cleaned it up quite nicely. So I'm going to turn the camera around, and you can see it.
Oh,
It's
that's
the
beautiful, eh?
Can you see that?
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
Add
these
two
on
more
there.
there.
Beautiful.
Beautiful blue color. Very pretty.
Yeah, 750. Okay.
When I saw this bike first, I was like, Colin, I want this motorcycle. I want to restore it and ride it myself.
Oh,
But then when it arrived, I was like, sure, it's actually a little bit too far gone, but Norman has done such a good job. I'm thinking of getting it going.
and it didn't have the fairing in front because you used to get
No
these
fairing.
with a half fairing and a full
There's the
fairing.
motor. You see it?
Yeah.
There's two cylinders missing there, still.
Yeah. That's a motorcycle that we would love to have. A CBX 1000.
Okay, the 1000.
Yeah.
Okay. And not a Kawasaki.
There's just something about.
Check
No,
that.
listen, I'm gonna show you. We have a beautiful Kawasaki Z1000. Do you guys remember the TV series Chips?
Yes. With the cops.
Yeah, these cops, yeah?
There we go.
You got the picture of it.
Yeah, you can see those guys?
Yep.
Okay, well, this is the bike they used to ride. The Kawasaki Z1000.
Oh, beautiful. Sure. Yeah.
Don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
Does bring back a few
Lovely
memories.
emerald
there.
green color.
So, Charles, before you go off to some more modern bikes, do you have a Katana in the collection? Because that is also a bike that's close to my heart.
We would love a Katana.
Oh,
So if anybody wants to donate a katana, please feel free.
I have a friend
What is that, a
has
Laverde?
2 or 3 katanas, right? And he sold it. I'm so cross with him.
We would love a katana, and we might have one that comes back to us as being restored, and the owner says he would like to display it. Yeah, we'll see, and then we'll offer him an amount. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Just
Would
take
like
a
the
picture up
katana.
there. You just passed a bike there that looks almost as old as Norman.
No. Colin, do you want to tell us a bit about the Ducati?
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. That
I got a
is
phone
beautiful.
call a little while ago, and I was offered this little racing Ducati. I had no idea how beautiful it was. It's a 1966 50cc race bike. It was raced in Cape Town a couple of years ago. Now, what happened with this bike is the owner who lovingly restored it and has had it for quite a long time, he unfortunately passed away. We do get that quite often, and the families who know how special these bikes are, we've had a lot of bikes donated as well. They want the bikes on display. They want to share them with the public. They don't want them disappearing, being chopped up for spares or anything like that. So we are very proud to be able to display them and honor the previous owner by letting the whole world share this bike. This particular little bike is very rare, very valuable. It will be getting a glass case very soon, hopefully. I didn't, in my wildest dreams, ever think that I would own a little bike like this. Being a Ducati is very special. And one of the little inside jokes in the motorcycle room, we've got a very rare tricolor 1098 Ducati. There were only 7 of them brought into the country. So it's not a red Ducati. It's green, white, and blue. I can quickly go over there. We've got a yellow 748. It's a beautiful, bright yellow one. But again, it's not red. So here's the tricolor. This is a monstrously fast motorbike, this.
Sure. That's beautiful.
Very, very, probably one of the prettiest Ducatis they've made. But again, it's known as the tricolor. So when I got sent the pictures of the little Ducati 50, in the photos it looked red. So I said, oh, finally a red Ducati. And then when we got it, it was actually KTM orange. So we still don't own a red Ducati.
With your displays, do you actually have information related to that machine's background that people can read and sort of make a study of it?
Sorry, can you repeat that one? I didn't hear properly.
With each of these machines, like that Ducati now, the little 50cc,
Yes.
do you have a card or something with that machine that you can read up? In other words, can people make a study of it whilst they're there, or can
Yes,
they relate
what-
to that on your Facebook pages, or how do they
Yes.
get more information?
What we've done, what we've done is, on that little Ducati, I've not received all of the memorabilia and all of the information with the bike yet. A friend of mine in Cape Town has got all of that, so the bike's quite new to us. But our normal bikes, and when I get all of the info, we have display boards next to each bike.
That's what I know, yeah.
Yeah, so very basic information, because I find people don't like to read tons and tons of info. So yes, we've got just the necessary info on the boards, how big the bike is, the engine size, a little bit of history about the bike. But we do have, and that's where Norman is absolutely brilliant, because the stories, I still haven't passed on all the stories to him. So he's still got a lot of stories that I'm busy telling him slowly but surely. We communicate every single day on our Facebook, on our WhatsApp group. So the 3 of us are chatting all the time, and Norman will ask me a question. A lot of these bikes have stories and history. The Z1000 that Charles showed you a minute ago, that bike, a friend of mine local to Neisner phoned me, and he said, oh, you won't believe it, I found a motorbike in the shed on the farm. Now, that's the point where every bike collector gets very, very excited, as I'm sure car collectors do as well. Okay. So I said, So I said to him, "What is it?" And he was like, "Oh no, it's a big Kawasaki." So he said a Z something. So of course my ears picked up huge. So he forgot that he had it tucked away in the farm in storage, and it turned out he was selling his farm, so he had to go through everything, and he pulled the sheet off and he found this bike. So the bike had been stored with him for about 10 years, but it needed to move. So he asked the owner, and the owner said, yes, well, he needs to have somebody to look after it, obviously. So he came and met me and had a look around. He was very impressed. So the bike, I went and fetched it. It was in quite bad condition. We cleaned it up and put it on the floor, and it was his bike. So nicely on display. He then told me the history. He bought the bike in America. It then went with him from America to Germany. From Germany, it traveled to South Africa. Landed up in the farm barn for 10 years, and then landed up in the motorcycle room. So we've since then bought the bike from him. It's now ours. But I say to people that the bikes find me. It's quite crazy. A lot of the bikes have come to me by, I don't know, a lot of our fans. Another interesting story, I'll just have a little walk down, because as I say, there are so many stories. A very, very good friend of mine many, many years ago imported a motorcycle into South Africa because we didn't get them. So it is a very limited edition with KTM 6 days. So the 6 days is all about the 6-day enduro that they do all over Europe. So this bike, he brought one in, and the KTM dealer brought one in for himself. So there were only 2 in the country. Very special bike. He waited a long time for it to get here. So I then, quite a few years later, I bought the other one from the KTM dealer. So the 2 of us had the only 2. Funnily enough, I was on a bike trip in Namibia, and you always meet the greatest people on bike trips. I bumped into a guy in Botswana, who also had one. His wife said, no, my husband's got one, and I said, it's impossible. He owned the garage where we put petrol in. And true as Bob, half an hour later, he came on the same bike. So we knew about our 2. We knew about the one in Botswana. So unfortunately, I sold mine, and my friend sold his. And many years passed, and I really, with a collection, because that's a 640 LC4. So we've got the Enduro. This is what they call the Supermoto.
Yeah.
And then this is a very beautiful little thing. It's called the Duke. So they all got the same end. They all got the 640 motor in. So I wanted to find and try and track down my original 640. So I put an ad on our motorcycle room page with a picture of it saying, if anybody knows where these bikes are, I would like one or both of them back. So obviously I didn't hear a word because very rare, only the 2. Then 2 years later, a follower on Facebook who'd visited the motorcycle room had seen my ad. He remembered my name from my little board at the back. He found me on Facebook. He sent me a messenger message. He spotted the bike for sale on his local Facebook marketplace ad in a small little town up the West Coast.
Sure.
So he sent me, so I bought the bike, and I was very excited, but I didn't know if it was my old one or if it was my friend's old one. And the only way I'd know is when we got the paperwork and I could look at the engine numbers. So I finally got the bike, knowing it could only be mine or it could be my friend's. And lo and behold, it was neither. So somebody had brought a third one in that we didn't know about. So there's actually 3 of them. So I would like to trace down the other 2, but there it is. So very, very rare bike. So there's 2, maybe 3 of these in South Africa. So.
Well, hopefully your dream will come true, and somebody's watching now and willing to contact you tomorrow.
Let's hope so, because as far as the 640 collection goes, so we've got those, and then we've got on my Cairo trip from Cairo to Cape Town, I sold my bike, unfortunately, but one of the guys kept his, and when it was time to sell, he phoned me and he said, you want it for the motorcycle room? So we've actually got it. That's next to the map. Which is in the front. So I've actually got one of the bikes that was on the trip with us. But while we're talking about the LC4 motor, Where is it? There we go. So this bike here is also very, very rare. It's what they call the LC400. So all the LCs were 640s, except for this one is a 400. Same motor, smaller barrel, used for racing. And this particular bike was used by the South African enduro team that went to Italy to do their 6 days enduro, part of Alfie Cox's racing team.
Sure.
So this one's got some real good South African history in it. So that's the kind of stories that we get. And, you know, because as we're getting more well known, people are phoning us and offering us bikes. And the sad and unfortunate thing is that I can't obviously buy every bike. So we have to say no often. And it's you know, you find that bike and it's just, oh, you really, really wish we could take it, but we can't all take that. So another thing that you have to see is, so the picture up on this wall is part of the Angelic Bulldog land speed record. Okay, so that was the British team that were trying to break the world record, land speed bike. Okay, so what happened was the two brothers, and they wanted to break the world's land speed record, and they had two choices. They either come to South Africa or they could do it in the USA, in America, so in the salt flats in America. So they came to South Africa to test the Fenekpan, yeah. So they came to South Africa and they were doing specific testing on solid wheels and on the side wheels that stabilize the land speed record bike. So a gentleman in Bloemfontein built them a test bike to test the wheels and to test the side wheels. And we are very, very, very proud because it's a huge part of South African motorsport history that people don't know even happened. Again, the gentleman passed away, and we were offered the bike. At the time, the people who have the original Bloodhound in their museum wanted it to take back to the UK, and lucky for me, it was offered to us first. So I jumped at the opportunity. So what we've got here is what's called the Dominator. Sorry, the Motivator. Let me just try and get that picture a little bit better. Okay, so this basically was the test bike for the world land speed record. You can see at the moment it's got spoke wheels on it because the original solid British wheels went back to the UK. Big solid aluminum wheels. So we've got the whole thing there. And as you see, it's got the side training wheels, which you still find on the land speed bike, car, whatever they call it today. So
That looks like a pretty scary machine to be inside. Oh.
I won't be giving it a bash myself, no. But it's you can see the little tiny steering wheels. So the nose cone is on because the big wheels that are put on for transport, you can't fit the nose cone. But we've got the nose cone there, and we've got the. So the motor that's.
Yeah.
What was the speed they were trying to reach? What speed
Look,
were
on
they
this
trying
bike,
to reach with it?
On this bike, it wasn't about the speed. This was for testing the wheels and for testing the side wheels. So this particular bike, it is there somewhere. I'm not sure what they were, but they were trying to beat the 370 kilometer mark at those days. I think no, it must have been more. Yeah, maybe Norman can tell you about this bike. He knows all the history on this one a little bit better than me. So the funny thing is, when I got here yesterday, there were probably 10 bikes that I had not seen in person yet. So I was very excited to get here and to actually see the bikes. And I see Charles didn't tell you all about the very special bikes, so I think I'm going to steal his thunder. Okay, the bike that I spoke to you about a little bit earlier that came out the box is a Bmw Hb4. So it is an incredibly, incredibly rare race bike. So there are only 750 made worldwide. I bought it from BMW in the box. The box stayed closed for quite a while. And tonight, our glass box was finally delivered. I honestly didn't expect to be doing it this trip, but our glass box was finished and ready, so I said, let's do it. So this particular bike has got a carbon fiber frame. It's got carbon fiber wheels. It is basically world superbike spec. So very, very, very rare bike. I think in South Africa there's 3 or 4. Not quite sure how many are actually in South Africa. So tonight you guys actually now are going to be the first people actually to see it. I did put it on the Facebook page, but definitely not live like this. And so very, very, very proud to show you this.
Sure.
So, see it there. This is our new Pride and Joy display.
Yo, that thing is beautiful.
Yeah.
Is that with
This
Olin
is
shocks?
Olin.
And AP,
It's got
brakes, Brembo.
Brembo brakes. So this bike is it's a race bike, so it's can't be used on the road. Full race spec bike. As I said, I don't know if you can see those carbon fiber wheels there.
Yeah, and which
That
year
is
model is
beautiful.
it?
There we go.
Oh.
And it's literally was put in the box 2 hours ago.
So, Colin, how did you manage to put that in the box without and resist the temptation of taking it around the block?
Everybody's been asking me that question. This is one of those special once in a lifetime moments. I saw this bike maybe 2 years ago with my son in Cape Town, and we couldn't believe what we were seeing. We were drilling all over it. It was just the most fantastic thing we've ever seen. And it's something you definitely don't think you'll ever own. And yeah, 2 years later, the wheels turned in the right direction and we managed to get one. There were only 2 left. So this is the very last one that has come out of a box in the world.
Unreal.
So everybody was sort of saying on Facebook, leave it in the box, but it's just too beautiful too. So to answer your question, it will be ridden on a very special day, on a very special track. And I'll take it out and we'll ride it, maybe do 20-30 laps on it just to say that we've ridden it, and then it will go back in its box for prosperity. It's an investment bike, so it will just get more and more valuable in time. The Hb4 is their high power collection, so we've got its earlier sibling over here. So this is the previous Hb4 race. So a lot of people came in here going, oh my goodness. And I said, no, it's not that one. Now we can tell them we've got that one. So we've got the 2 of them. Then we've got this one, which is my favorite bike to ride. This is the Hb2 Sport. So this is the boxer motor, the good old fashioned BMW boxer motor. But it's the HP. So also a very, very beautiful high-spec bike, quick shifter, and all the rest on the boxer motor. So those are those 3. Then we'll just take a walk over here. So those are all the road versions of the HP. And then we've got a very beautiful Hb2 Enduro. So that's the off-road version of that bike. So
You like keeping your feet warm.
Say again?
You like keeping your feet warm with the boxer motors.
Yeah. So I mean, as much of a KTM fan I really love the boxer motor. They're just such a superb engines. And while I'm down this end, so you all recognize this, you must, surely?
Yep.
Yeah.
Do we know what that's famous for?
D'accord.
No. You heard of Charlie Berman and Ewan McGregor? The guys that did the long way around and the long way down. Those guys who crossed the world basically on BMWs.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
No, I didn't recognize the name now, but I do remember that, yes.
So Ewan McGregor is the famous actor, and Charlie Berman's his best friend. The 2 of them went around the world on these bikes a couple of times. And if you look carefully there, where is it? Can you see it? There's Charlie's signature. Charlie's signature on the tank. So another cool story. So
that could take a few days to go through that story.
Yeah. So, and Charlie was here. They come once a year. Pre-COVID, they came every year with a tour group of British tourists. And again, they come to Neisner to show the tourists the motorcycle room. They book into hotels in Neisner. They stay over in Neisner. It's the love is basically is getting spread. So that's that. Yes.
Sure.
I don't know if you want to hear from Norman. Let him show you our special little copper bike.
Yep, Norman's not going to get away. We're going to have to get Father Christmas on screen. It's your turn, Father Christmas.
He's on mute.
Norman, don't you want to speak to us?
Yeah, and yet I thought I was going to get away with it, eh?
No. You've known me longer than that.
Before we go to the copper bike, I want to show you something that is as old as me, if not a little bit younger.
That could be difficult.
I don't know if you can see it.
Right, now you're going to have
Can
to
you
tell us
see it
more
there?
about it.
What is it?
That's a Java 150 made by the company Czechoslovakia, 1952. It's the oldest bike in the world.
Norman, we've got a bit of bad feedback on your mic.
Yeah.
Maybe just keep it a little bit further away, or
Maybe we must just mute the other two guys.
Yeah.
Because then there won't be feedback.
so let's.
Can
let's
you see it now?
Now we can hear you, Norman.
Perfect.
There we go. Now we can see it.
Okay.
That's quite beautiful.
Okay, that's the Java 150, 1952 jobby.
Sure.
It looks quite comfortable to ride as well.
Yeah, quite nice shock absorbers, rear shock absorbers, 2-stroke, and quite potent.
Sure.
So I'm going to take you to the copper bike.
So, Norman, have you become an expert biker in the meantime?
Well, I've been riding for a very long time. I'm now, I think I've retired from bike more than I've retired from work. There's a copper bike.
That's what we want to see, yes. Now, there's a long story behind that.
Yeah.
Colin bought that the bike for quite a cheap price. He gave it to Gavin Fenter. They were chatting in a pub, and he came up with this crazy. He was telling you earlier about how crazy they are, and he came up with this copper bike. Because Gavin was also a flight engineer, I'm going to try and show you. That is a flap selector switch of an aircraft. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we see it.
And he has also. Did you see that? Yeah, I'll give you a better view there.
There we go. Now we can see it clearly, yeah.
Okay.
You're not going to say which specific
And
aircraft.
I think it's one of the Hawkers. I've been looking. I mean, after 48 years, I still know which aircraft. But I think it was off a Hawker. So Hawker City. Okay. On the saddle, he's impressed biplane for Barnstormers, tribute to the Barnstormers. And like I say, everything is copper. The fuel tank is copper. The fuel line is copper. Even the front mudguard, copper. Can you see that?
Yeah. Are you on polish duty, or who cleans this?
Yes, that's one of my my duties to polish it. Yeah. Can I start up?
Tell us more.
What I am privileged to. Well, she still runs. She's still registered. Colin takes it out every now and then if he wants to go drink coffee in town and brag with it. And he takes it to town. I'm going to start it for you. So you can.
How did you start
How
that
would you
so
like
quickly?
your bike and your car to start that quickly?
Yeah,
Say again?
exactly. I'm quite shocked to hear how quickly that started. How did you manage that?
Yeah, okay, I won't explain. Just well tuning. And actually, funny enough, I put a new spark plug in today, so that's helped quite a bit.
So I won't tell them that yesterday it wouldn't start.
Yeah, that's all right. Wouldn't start yesterday, yeah. I thought it was a fuel problem, but it was a spark plug actually. Well, I want to show you another little piece on this bike, the tail section, the tail dome, just behind the saddle. There. That is hand-beaten copper to form a dome. Okay, and then the rear tail light is at the back there. So the ingenuity behind this is fantastic. And I want to show you another bike. Say again?
You don't see that anymore.
I want to show you another bike which is also bringing in a lot of feed to us. The young Dutch lady that's been traveling through South Africa. She's been traveling on a bike for 4 years. She came into South Africa at the beginning of the year, bought a motorcycle, 250cc Honda CRF, bought it in Joburg, and she proceeded to do 22,000 kilometers through South Africa, Namibia, Botswana, and Zimbabwe.
On a 250?
Then she partook in the Kalahari Rally. Her YouTube channel, well known worldwide. She has 880,000 odd followers.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get the thingy there. Can you see that? Itchy Boots.
I'll certainly go and have a look at
But
that.
his name is Norman Tinkler. Say again?
We're certainly going to have a look at that.
Yeah.
You're going to have to look at her name is Norlie Schoenmaker, and very courageous, very dynamic young lady. We're privileged to have her bike and all her luggage and everything, and the map that she filled in every day. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
All the routes she did. And she traveled
Incredible.
predominantly she did predominantly gravel road. She went up the Sani Pass, turned around, came down Sani Pass. And then in the Kalahari Rally, she partook in the adventure class. She was the only lady in the adventure class and the only person on a 250cc motorcycle. And she actually showed the men how to do it because she did fairly well.
Wow.
So
It's amazing, you know.
another one of Colin's bikes. So the only.
What is that? Norman, what is that?
Now I wanted to show you another bike that Colin didn't know. That's Colin's FS3 50cc. And then the little fizzy that he's showing in the front there, the yellow one, is the other one.
That goes back a few years. What year is that? Oh,
What year is that
Norman's.
FS3? That's my bicycle that's showing now.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, Colin, you're keeping that specifically for Norman.
Help my truck.
This particular little NSU, I don't know if you guys can hear me.
Yeah, we can.
So this is the kind of bike, this is one of the bikes that was donated to us. So we are being trusted by a lot of people. You know, they don't have space for the bikes. They can't care for them anymore. So they send them to us. We keep them clean and we put them on display. So we're very fortunate to have had quite a few bikes actually donated to us. You can see it there.
That's beautiful.
Sorry, Norman, you carry on.
Masak.
Our special guest board that you showed me there. All the visitors. We've had quite a few international visitors.
You mentioned
over to you.
a rather, Colin, you mentioned a rather unknown racer a little earlier. Has he ever visited the motorcycle room?
Sorry, my volume was down. What was that?
I said, Charles mentioned a rather unknown motorcyclist the other day. He just happened to retire this last weekend. Has he actually visited the motorcycle room yet?
No, we really, really, really wish that he had. But something that interesting that did happen to me. I was at Silverstone at the last race. I did buy a T-shirt, so I was there. I saw it. But if you look carefully up behind me,
Beautiful.
okay, that there. I don't know if you can see it. There's an autograph.
Yeah.
You see writing there behind that back wheel. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, there's a,
Anyway, there's a signature there, and that turned out to be a young man who worked for Olin's, and he did Rossi's suspension and a couple of the top guys' suspension mods. So that was very interesting to meet him. But that's as close as I've come to Rossi myself.
Okay. And
Well,
do you have
he's got
anything from the Binde brothers?
So again?
Do you have any memorabilia or any bikes from the Binde brothers?
No, I don't. I wish. I've been nagging and asking, but you know they're up in Johannesburg. We're all the way down here, so I don't think we'll get that honor. But what we do have is, so we have some very, very talented boys in South Africa, all over the world, doing very, very well. And one of them is Wade Young. Wade Young won the Roof of Africa rally. I think the first time he won it, he was 16. I think the second time he won it, I could be wrong on how many times, but he was sponsored. He was a KTM rider, and his very last ride for KTM, he won the Roof of Africa again. He beat Graham Jarvis, who was multiple world champion. And again, I got phoned and offered. So there's his bike. This motorcycle won the Roof of Africa. It's still in the trim that it was. So this is quite a famous bike. And for me personally, I'm an enduro rider. That's my first love. As you can see, a couple of enduro bikes. So this particular bike, as I say, he beat Graham Jarvis, who's the multiple world champion. So to have a Graham Jarvis beating bike is very cool. And then again, one of the stories of the motorcycle room, about a month ago, Charles was in a second-hand shop just walking around, and he saw this lying on a shelf. I don't know if the glare is too bad, but if you can see that, that's the magazine front page of this bike, talking about Wade winning the Roof of Africa on the bike. And Charles just happened to see it lying. I mean, the magazine's years old, and he just happened to find a pristine copy of the magazine of our bike in the second-hand shop, which was quite unbelievable. So, so a very, very special bike, and it's as it was when he finished the race. So all the beaten up stickers and all of that. And next to it, so this little 200 here, KTM used to make a 200 electric start two-stroke. Very popular bike back when I was racing. And when I heard they were going to discontinue them, you know, when we ride dirt bikes, 2 or 3 rides and they look terrible. So they're very pretty. So to have a pristine enduro bike, you don't see it. So when I heard they were going to stop making the 200s, I managed to get my hands on one of the very last ones, and this KTM has never been ridden.
Sure.
They started it when they started it to PDI it. That's it. This bike has never ever been ridden. Brand new, one of the last KTM 200s, which is quite. You know, a lot of people say to me, "What a waste," but I say I'm keeping it beautiful so future generations can see them, because what people are not realizing, and being in the UK, we see it a lot more than what's happening here. Electric is coming on very, 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 very fast. So in the not so very future, people are going to come in here, kids are going to ask their parents, what's that thing? You know, they're not going to know what it is. And why does it make so much noise? And, you know, I think it's, and the other thing is, somebody said it to me quite nicely, is I don't own a Monet painting or anything like that. This is my art. So to me, this is as beautiful as it gets, from that point of view. So I've got, you know, we got quite a couple. The KTM collection's big, and then I've got some very rare bikes. There's a KTM SX 505, which is a motocross bike, 500cc 4-stroke motocross bike,
Sure.
which is this one. So that you don't see every day. Quite rare. And then funnily enough, right behind it, I don't know if you've ever seen this, because not many people knew they made this. This is a BMW enduro bike. They didn't make very many of these at all.
Sure.
So some, you know, BMW does some very crazy things sometimes. Don't always work. And one of them is the fuel cap on the seat. So you sit on top of the fuel filler, which to me, not a very clever idea. So yeah, and this is also, you don't see this every day.
Yeah.
So,
do you have any Moto Guzzi bikes in the collection?
ooh, well, very well done. Good question. We only have one, and I've never met anybody who's ever seen this motorbike before. So we have, Norman told me he had an argument with a gentleman a little while ago that it wasn't a Moto Guzzi, but here's something incredibly special. That is a Moto Guzzi Scrambler.
Yeah.
And I've had, whenever the Italian guys come in here, I bring them straight here, especially the Moto Guzzi guys. So they made these from 74 to 81.
Sure.
So the history that I've done on this little bike, you know, the Italian guys say to me, "Oh, you got no Moto Guzzi?" I said, "Yes, we do." And I bring them here, and they stand here and they can't believe what they're saying. But I have seen this bike, and it was badged Benelli. So I think what happened back in the day is there was a factory building these, and they would badge them for whoever want them. So this one was badged Moto Guzzi. So then we've got also another little, not the prettiest thing you've ever seen. Here's a very interesting bike with a very special story. So,
is it a Buell?
no. This is actually a hybrid of about 6 bikes put together.
Okay.
So what happened, this was built by a local, the guy owns a local bike shop. So what happened was, a good friend of theirs was paralyzed in a bike accident. And he could not ride anymore, or so they thought. So what his friends and their club did is they built him this bike. He had a lever up from the gear lever, the gear shift, up that was mounted there, so he could change gears, clutch and brake together on the handlebars. And they actually built him a crane that went into the back of the bike. So he could literally come up to the bike in his wheelchair, pull himself up onto the bike, put his wheelchair on the back, and ride with them. So I believe he did ride with them a couple of times, but I'm not sure why, but I think, you know, he stopped. So I saw this standing at the bike shop, and it was just so unusual, and I was pretty sure they were going to strip it because it wasn't being used anymore. So I bought it. A lot of the bikes, I've saved a lot of bikes from scrapyards. You know, people ask the question, where have all the 50cc bikes gone? Because that's what draws the most attention in here, is the schoolboy bikes from when we were kids. And the simple question is, once you got your car, you forgot about your bike, and your 50 got left in the back of the garage, and your dad, after 10 years or 5 years, just threw it away. You won't believe how many guys have found 50cc bikes at the dump on the scrapyard. So we try and save everything. So I'm going to show you a picture. I hope it's not too dark in this corner, just to give you an example. Here we go. So I was at a braai, and as you do, chatting, motorbikes came up. Oh no, I collect. And the guy was also, yes, I've got a bike lying in the grass on the farm. So I was like, oh, what is it? And then he said the words KTM. And then I was like, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. So I said to him, can I come tomorrow? Because he said, no, you can just have it. So no, I'm busy tomorrow. No, I'm busy next week. So it took me 2 weeks of non-sleep to go there. And I've seen some bad bikes in my time, but I don't know if you can see that glare.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's the picture. Okay,
That must have taken a bit of effort.
yeah, it was bad. It was. I was upset because he took it out the grass and put it next to the shed. But yes, so okay, so that was the bike. That's what I got, and I just slowly got stuck in, and now there it is.
Now it's a beautiful machine.
It's not finished. It's not finished. Yeah, it's not finished, and maybe it will never be finished. As I find parts, as I get motivated, somebody donated the tank. That's why, in the enduro world, in the vintage enduro world, the guys got together and a connection found me a tank. Because without the tank, I wasn't even going to bother. I managed to get the plastics from a guy in Austria.
Sure.
So, yeah. So it's people can see what it looked like, what it was. This particular bike, there's nothing inside there. The engine was so bad that there's nothing. But it's good to look at. It's there. And if I come across a motor, I can just pop that one out, put a new one in. And then the rest of the bike's good to go. So, this one here, I mean, this is a 495. So it's a 495cc two-stroke monsters thing.
Sure.
This particular bike, the guy got halfway with the restoration and the money ran out and the fun ran out. So again, if we didn't take it, it would have landed up in pieces somewhere else. So, all of them. I've got quite a few. This one's quite nice. So, I take them all and we save them. This particular one, I think I must have been 18, 17 years old. A friend of mine let me ride his 350 two-stroke, and I fell in love with the bike immediately. Just endless power, wheelie for days. It was just, I was so in love with this bike, and he was selling it, and I just couldn't afford it. And I begged my dad, and I begged, but we just couldn't do it. And it took me 25, 30 years, but I found one, and I've got one. So you never know, the passion, you look, when you be patient, and like we say, the bikes will find you. So they're all
Colin,
there.
you glanced past something in the background a little while ago. I don't know what it was, but I saw a sidecar on it. Do you have any sidecars there?
Yes, we do have one, and unfortunately it came in when I was not here, so I can't actually answer too many questions about it. It's a boxer motor, but it's not the BMW. So that's it there.
Beautiful, eh?
That's beautiful.
Yes. The beautiful looking thing. I think it is and we don't have any info board on it because this one's not ours. I'm pretty sure, Norman, can you hear me? Okay, he's on the other side of the room. I think he might have some info for you, but yes, it's very beautiful. I think it's a Chinese copy of there's not even a name on it. So yeah, I'm embarrassed to say I don't know any info. I can't help you on this one.
Again, something else I have to touch on. You can't have a motorcycle room without having a Vespa,
Oh really? Okay, I'll see your Vespa. And I'll raise you one Laverda. Very rare little Laverda 50.
Yeah.
So yes, we've got a bit of everything there. Our trials bikes, our foot-up bikes. Now here we got a bit of. I mean, I even bought this old frame. It's an old James, old British bike.
Sure.
You know, so we've got an oldies corner here of all sorts of. Look at these junky things.
This,
You know,
Where's the Triumphs?
Yes.
Where's the Triumphs?
very interesting piece of history. Who knows what that is?
haven't got a clue.
That should be a dead giveaway.
Spark
It's an
plug.
old spark plug cleaner.
Yeah.
So in the old days, you cleaned your spark plug. Maybe Norman should have used it this morning. Then, another interesting thing that we've got. Seen that?
That's
Yes, I do, but
You must remember that from the James Bond movie.
Yeah.
I don't know which one it was. Yeah. So that's a 650cc two-stroke wet bike. It's a Suzuki. The big jet sticking out the back. I don't know. Yeah, I won't be able to get that up. But oh, yes, I will. If you can see in there, big two-stroke, smoky, loud thing.
That'll work well on a nice little lagoon.
Yeah, I think we'll get shot though. I don't think Greta Thunberg will appreciate that at all.
Oh, look at that one.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. There's James
There
Bond.
we go. There he is, yeah.
That's the original color and what it used to look like. So yeah. So as we say, we've got a crazy bit of everything all over the show. So that's why when people come, they spend hours here because they just don't know what they're going to see next. And
Well,
Yeah,
we said
just-
we said we won't go over the 1 hour limit. We've gone 1 hour 15 minutes already, and it looks like we can carry on all night still. So
Yeah.
yes,
we appreciate your time.
What is
we
it,
don't
a
want to
drag
keep
bike?
you up. What? Yeah.
No, it's-
Hang on. What was that? That red thing next to you?
It was a drag bike. It looked like.
Oh, how could we forget that? Yes, sorry. You see, that's what I'm saying. You know, if you had another 7 hours, I could go through it for you one by one. This, also very, very special. I'm trying to. There we go. So it's a pro stock drag bike. This was brought into South Africa from America. Incredibly dangerous, very, very fast bike.
Sure.
I mean, it's proper. I don't. Well, let me read the board. I don't know. Yeah, 1,680 cc, 260 horsepower, 1991. So
And it
very,
could do
very
a-
quick.
it
Here
could
we
do a
go. Could do the
drag
quarter
in
mile.
one time?
7.4 seconds, 290 k's an hour. And you must remember now, this was in 91. So, yeah, that's some impressive speed for 1991.
Not a pretty
So-
picture. Things goes wrong.
And then, yeah, no, look, we don't even want to talk about that. And then there's this little starter box with the battery inside to jump start it. See, even the jump starter's got little alloy mag wheels. So, yeah, it was very, very cool.
I
And
had
then,
the privilege to see Stevie Rost on his bike at Carlton doing 7 seconds, and it's incredible to see what these guys are capable of. But
Yes.
certainly, I don't want to be that picture hitting the wall on the other side.
No, I don't know if you follow MotoGP, but I think it was last year we saw a crash with Valentino Rossi and his teammate.
Yep.
Where the bike came over his head at I don't know what speed, flew over him and his teammate. It was the most horrific thing I've ever seen. You know, they get on, brush it off, life goes on. So, yeah, you've got to be driven. I enjoyed racing, but I don't think I never took it too seriously. I mean, I did fairly well. If I didn't break my elbow, I would have or had a possibility. I think I was lying second or third in the Western Province Champs. So if it had been somebody else who broke their elbow, I might have taken the season. But, you know, I broke my arm so badly that luckily it came right again. So they said to me I would lose the use of my elbow, but I did lots of therapy, lots of physio, and yeah, luckily I came out okay. So you know, these races, as you know, with car races, they are a totally different breed because they, you know, they can break every bone in their body, and you know, as soon as they can, they're back on the bike again. For me, there's lots of other things in life to do besides racing bikes.
Well, the good thing about that attitude is it gave you the motorcycle room and a privilege for people like us to come and see it. So
Yeah,
great,
absolutely. It's just the passion that's changed. You know, it's just the passion's still there, and I'm actually, my best day is being here and speaking to people. So I mean, in season, you know, December, we're very, very busy. We get lots of visitors, and come 6 o'clock, we close the doors, and I'm tired, but I'll stand here talking. You know, for me, a beautiful part of it is meeting the people. I once was locking up, and somebody came to the door. I hadn't started covering the bikes. The bikes all get a blankie every single night, so that takes quite a while per Norman. Every night has got to put a blankie on each bike. So yeah, 150 bikes get a blankie, and so I was closing up, and the guy came to the door, and it was an elderly American gentleman, and he came inside. I said, "Sure, come inside." I sat with him from 5 o'clock till 10:15. After he looked at all the bikes, we landed up sitting on the couch, and I mean, he came inside and he said, "This is heaven." And so all he needs now to make his life perfect is a beer. And I said to him, "Well, we do happen to have a beer in the kitchen. You know, we don't serve alcohol, but the doors are closed. It's after hours." And I had a beer with this gentleman, and he told me about his Helpmate Trap, his little bike, that his nephew had just won a show with in America. Now that bike was his, I've got to get this right now. It was his sister's bike, I think, or his mother's or a relative's bike. She was overseas just before the war, and they basically told her to jump on the boat. The Germans are coming. So they grabbed her by the elbow and said, "You've got to go." And she said, "Not without my bike." So they had to escort her to wherever it was. She kicked and screamed, and so they just went and fetched the bike, threw it on the boat. So she took it from Europe back to America. He then landed up getting the bike, and he grew up doing his paper run on this little bike. And obviously when he grew up, it left lying in the garage or whatever. And then his brother found it, and his son landed up doing his paper route on this bike, and then restored it and entered it in a show, and he won a competition on it. So it's stories like that we hear. Like you say, motorbikes aren't just, for some people they're just commuters, but for other people it's a massive passion. And the stories and the things we hear, and I mean, my stories also just go on forever and ever. And that is what I enjoy. That is the two things we hear the most are, "Oh, I had one of those growing up." And the very next thing, I can mouth it with them, they say, "I wish I still had it. I wish I never sold it."
Right.
So, and that's what it's about. So, you know, we could have renamed this place Memory Lane. So it's, so that's what it's about. So I really, really enjoy sharing this with people. And that's probably my biggest joy about the place, is the fact that so many people are enjoying it. And what I think is so many people do understand it. Because again, like I said, it's not a museum. It's not a bike shop. You know, it's just a big man cave and or a person cave, should I say? I mean, we get ladies in here that the husbands are sitting on the couches yawning, and the ladies are walking around and show me everything. And it's, you know, like you've got to be careful because you're talking to a husband and wife, and I keep looking at the husband. He says, "Don't look at me, look at my wife. I don't ride motorbikes." It's pretty cool. It's very cool. So yeah, and speaking of lady. Say again?
On that topic, I can vouch for it because I say it's my motorbike, but it's registered in my wife's name. So,
okay. Yeah,
I say hats off to you. That's all I can say.
Yeah, no, so cool,
thanks so much.
Well done. And
thank you so much.
Look after Father Christmas. He's a very special person.
Father Christmas has made my life such a joy, and I only got to meet Father Christmas yesterday, but we've been chatting for over a year already. So, you know, it's yesterday, and I'm so thankful to him and Charles because you can eat off this floor. These bikes are pristine condition. They are, I mean, it really, the place is absolutely stunning. 5-star ratings. I've got a camera set up so I sit in bed in the UK and I can watch exactly what they're doing. With 24 camera angles that I can see what's going on. And I monitor everything from there. And I mean, I chat to them daily. And it's just such a pleasure to work with people that's got so much passion and they understand what's going on here. And you know, I put my trust in them, all of these bikes here, and it's been phenomenal and an absolute joy. And I'm just so glad that hopefully this COVID nonsense over so I could be more often than not and keep the things going and grow the collection. So that's been great.
No, we are not going to stop if we don't stop now. So, Colin, we would love
Yes.
to chat to you again somewhere in the future. So if you break up another box and it's something unique, please give us a shot. I've still got regular contact with Norman, and we will certainly would love to have you back on the show again in the future.
It'll be an absolute pleasure. I don't think ever in my lifetime it'll be something as special as what we did tonight.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. If we get anything new and fun and funky in, and a very disappointing fact for me is that my bike building buddy has immigrated to New Zealand. So unfortunately, our customs have taken a little bit of a stop. But if we do come up with something special, Norman's actually going to put together our little FS1 that we're restoring. So maybe he can give you a step-by-step on how the progress is going on that.
We look forward to that. Thank you for your time. I think
Thank you.
Norman pulled a fast one on you tonight because he didn't have much to say tonight. But he's very good at doing things like that. But Norman, good to see you again. And we really look forward to chatting to you again in the future. Clint, I don't know if you want to close up.
No, thank you. It's been an absolute honor to chat to you guys, and amazed by the man cave, and definitely we'll make a turn when we're nice and keep the doors open. Thank you.
Charles, apologies.
Thank you.
We only saw you in the background there, but that's a clever way of doing it as well.
My cell phone died. So I went off.
Thank you, gents.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks so much.
Behind the scenes, thank you, Byron. We kept you all up late tonight, but I think it was well worth it. Thank you again.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers, guys. Thanks so much.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.